Right, YouTube, thanks for tuning into part 3. This is probably not going to be the most accurate and scientific comparison possible because I haven't really got the resources to do that. So I'm going to be comparing some footage from the track day in August, which is a dry one, and then the track day I've just done in October, which was a damp, wet one, so it's not going to be the best comparison in terms of cornering for obvious reasons. But we'll look at some third gear acceleration out of a corner, I'm not sure what speed, probably from about 50 or 60. And then we'll look at a comparison on the straight at Castle, so that'll be a pull from 60 odd in third up into fourth gear, and then I'll probably stop it just because on the 3.38 I'll have to go into fifth gear now. So we'll probably look at running out to the end of fourth gear and see what the difference is. So I'm also going to compare my fastest lap from August and then the fastest lap from October. See what kind of difference there is. Again, not the best because one's a damp one, but what can you do? Hopefully I can revisit this when I've done another dry track day so we can get a better comparison of actual lap times and just general cornering ability. So I had a passenger both times, so I suppose it would have slowed me down a little bit, but at least it was consistent. I'm also going to look at some just motorway speed so you can see the difference in revs in sixth gear. And what's the other thing? I tried to do 0 to 60, but it was wet again, typical. But I'll chuck that in. You can see, well, I won't, I'll explain later, but yeah, there's a 0 to 60 in there, and the damp, so it's probably not the best one I could have done. And I've also dug out some footage from an old episode where I was looking at, I think it was 20 to 50 miles an hour in second gear. I think at the time I was comparing the car before it was remapped and then with the Vanos seals changing as well. So I think I've taken the footage from after I had it remapped, so we'll compare the 20 to 50 time in second gear as well. So we've got a few different ways of comparing and see what kind of differences I've gained, if I've gained any. You've got to bear in mind that I'm actually going a little bit faster than what you can see on the video because the camera's mounted to the right of the speedo. Right, so let's have a little look then. You can see from that third gear pull that the 3.38 diff at the bottom is about 1000 RPM ahead, and we've probably gained about, I reckon, about 3 miles an hour. So at the start you can see there's about 400 RPM in it. So it's not quite the result I was expecting. You can see the 3.38 diff is only about a mile an hour faster at the end of the straight. Probably about, I don't know, 800 RPM say. So I think that the only real gains to be had from the 3.38 diff is coming out of the slower corners. On the straight, if anything, it may be about the same because you've got that extra gear change to go into fifth on the 3.38 diff. That's at Castle anyway. Sorry about the blurry image at the top, but you can't really see, but it's actually about 3 miles an hour quicker down the bottom by the time I get to 50. The top one's sort of probably 46, 47, and it's about 1200 RPM ahead. So yeah, it's quite a decent acceleration gain on the second gear. This 0 to 60 was done on a wet road, so I'm starting at pretty low revs. Because of the angle of the camera and how the speedo overreads slightly, this should be about 62 miles an hour. As expected, it's gone up a little bit because I've had to do an extra gear change. Although you can see the 0 to 50 time is about 5 seconds, so that's pretty good. Just wasting 2 seconds on that gear change and then the slower acceleration in third up to 60. So that's a pretty good result. I'm about 2 seconds ahead down the bottom on a damp track as well. They're taking pretty similar lines in both bits of footage, so should be a good comparison. I think I'm gaining most time coming out of some of the slow corners, but I'll try and break it down a bit to show you where I'm gaining the extra time. So you can see this is where the first bit of gain is to be made. You can see I'm a bit further ahead at the bottom. I think that's partly down to carrying slightly more speed through the chicane before, and then also, but mainly, being able to accelerate harder out of the chicane. And then by the time I'm about to hit the brakes for Tower Corner, you can see I'm even further ahead at the bottom now. That drive out of Bobby's chicane, you can really see that gap open up even more. So I'm about to hit the yellow pit line. There's quite a big gap now. So this is the exciting one to finish. This is just 6th gear. I expect it's probably similar to the Beamers that have got 5 gears in terms of how high the revs are. Hopefully that's been informative for someone. Kind of shows what you're going to get out of changing your diff and your rear camber arms, although it's kind of more predominantly the diff this episode. Hopefully in the future, when I get a dry track day, I'll be able to see how better she goes around the corners, so it'll be a bit more of a rear camber arm episode. So yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, bye.